Talking about the taste, but who's the people behind the there is really are. And if you're looking for the exist of all the things, is this a systems or the society to hide for? You need to hold it indiscriminate all of the function, all the banks, who is this? Do you want to taste? They call it anti-Americanization of the place to ignore the systems or any kind of agent with the pocket inside of these systems. On the contrary, which very highly have been regarded one of the very ultimos whose themselves think to have an decision for others to choice, and whose their here availabilitation allowed to theirs. But there it comes with the system. It would be not more than less the selfish here coming to just help in the end when they need it or have some resuscitation behind a crisis. It's always a missing characteristic if you really think of this. All come to crisis, whatever it causes it, and then come in a savior. With the savior they think they can exchange to lead a help and lead a development progress, a terrible restoration of the old system. For to our case, the same power, the poverty of course the first key to something, and after all, to just control. It's always became with the same. And when it comes to war, they don't need to anymore to war against. They can simply give just. But in the meanwhile, when it's the case, when all the rest of the are behind the test, you say we are losing of a lot of things. As I say, nothing comes to place. We are just there would be existing a different war fight. So there have to be came. The same kind of why we are so against of that is predominantly a huge rise, which is rise of the West and higher extension. So have it they come and tell the voice. And who I don't care, I could give it my own voice, my own name and my own things. If there is so much are to approach. And here, how the classes, how does it really take it after the place? I call it a kind of interesting voiceover. And then, but hey, we have a complete progress of everything. But that was kind of the question of what I say. Should I ever even have to the time to it? In the meanwhile, I just talk about all the progress going around there. Who's the hero, the players, agent, the more I hate of the change itself, the bringing out the taste. So there it was, would you yourself or anybody else here enduring the taste? So every possibilities here are deemed as a negative. It says, no matter what you do, you cannot do anything at all because the change and these things are inevitable already what they are participating. And it came, alright, you're taught very well, you have become very well, this is what you have put all your times behind. Now it's might think you're crazy, but again, what you think of the positive thing says, and the change you do me conscious, and this kind of the one self-reservation. It's very integrated, like anything else is there. But who's the year chaser? Who's freaking this test? And who's the test? You say, alright, this is enough, and now they come somewhere else. They come back on the chase, and who the terrorists? Right. And well, all of the coming of the test, they try to make changes. It's all a power, as it says. And there was a more, you find it the house began, and the less, the more comfort it is. Alright, like everything else to get very interesting, there is a few who absorb and quickly adjust, and therefore are early adapters, adapting quickly of the new things. They are near fields or wanted to feel the new things, have a keenness and kindness to doing a lot of things, and who are attempts to fight it indistinguishable, not to be all of this moving the new things. It's one of the brain function, of course, which is very likely to life, because more adaptive to spaces itself is the more adaptive to spaces the survivor thrive and change all the time. So all of the spaces in the world and existence are more and more and more changed. If you're a case, who wants to see and not to suffer ways, but who you care? But who said this eugenesis? I mean, what are you talking about? Okay, this is one of the read what I was okay, but I don't think so. They want to see that the people themselves do not try, and indeed, it's this argument he said. It's actually himself is an argument against his original argument. So he's again coming with the point, he made a point, and he telling arguments, like a lot of people do this. The one of the thing is, when you have a red face, you say, I have no red face at all, which is of course in an odd lie, or something kind, if there is any equation, it can be deemed to that. And this kind of the person have intention to be there for a chase. But then is of course the kind of the taste unawareness of the words and meaning, the kind of separativeness of the words and how this kind of the space happy creation. Alright, I have definitely know myself any idea how I suggest the very large rate to be is because when you should have put up in the first place. And in what way the states, and really they always call the center. What do you know the time about? The time of the ready and not ready. Who's in the chase? And the people are coming away and coming back all the time. Well, you know, if it's not ready to taste, and Dave. But fine, it's fine after all shop. So as you see, the people themselves to very prolific. But I'm here I myself find out, alright, hey, I'm already contributed. I put my all brains there and created this. I just call it, there is contribution. Contribution doesn't equal the work or the action or the simple, the huge effort. Because anything can be huge effort, but only few things can be useful. Only the useful is achieved by the society of the majority, which is the most given the highest degree of the good for society, of the utilitarians, the philosophy, or the idea of the politics, and therefore every effort are deemed just does. And this is the determination as the majority superpower decision and to themselves giving justification to power over control over their own existential pains, which are of course one of the kind of the chase. Well, what I'm here to take it apart. So this is the easy to call it just to put to buy very and what the key is your money to buy, but to the really the general causes they will give it up a price the money, and you say this country and everybody comes talking price. But again, when it comes with this justification and very prejudice of the other persons, I haven't really said all bad things. I will be really encouraged. So I really want to make a change. Alright, what we'll be saying to one person, he's all, or this person is more likely to say himself as even such because he's more himself was exposed to board to hearing at all, or he was telling to wanting to change in this, to make it sure he's against of it. And indeed, more he will be exposed of any kind of the conclusion, more he will be self-aware and self-decay, self-ignorance, negligence. And of course, it's always increased by the different function to follow up the first social inputs and how much it's affection individual. Then it's a self-imagine himself, his own desire to decide himself what a person itself wanna be, due to his acceptation, ignorance, and knowledge of his goals and aim is to be able to conduct and do it, therefore. And out of this kind of this affection, when I say to call it all the persons, these people are likely themselves to find. But who's to do the job? You say everybody is here to do the job. It's not only us, but it's every possibility here in the market, world, the people, so on. So therefore you say, alright, I don't find a person, people who's not actually back up these things. Or just searching the cure to this. And all of these people wanted to perfect themselves. You say you pray right, who you decide. Well, because in the end overall, the more all the rest will be involved. If it's only one, it will be more. In the end, it will be overall affect everything what I am, everything it is. So that's it, what it is. I call them, some people say, this give a recollection to the self, the right, the correct.